Hey, folks, welcome to today's event. This is going to be one heck of a show. So if there's one thing that you need to know about me, is one of my top values, shall we say, is fun. So we have a intimate crowd here today, which I always think is incredibly awesome, because you know what it means? That your questions can actually be answered.
There's a lot of conversation about the difference between being a manager, being a leader. I mean, you can manage people, which is by position. You might have a title, but that doesn't make you a leader. Doesn't mean that people are going to follow where you want to go or actually believe whatever it is you're saying or asking them, or whatever it is you're asking them to do.
May not be, in different business owners' wheelhouse, but it's very important to get professional advice and just put in the time to get to know and understand your real-time financial circumstances.
I love that, because I think at the moment, sometimes we cannot quite have our hand on the pulse with our numbers.
Yes.
I'm guilty. I'm going to put my hand up, folks. I'm going to tell you, I am guilty as charged. There have been points. Let me just throw my hands up, call me in. But I love that little, and it sounds like a small nugget, but I think it's very important that actually what I'm hearing is now is not the time to get too speculative. Now is the time to look at your numbers, set a budget, and start assessing, see where you really are, what's really working for you, what's not working, what things actually cost. Maybe you want to start some new line or something, but you need to really take assessment of things and figure out, if it's actually possible, and if and when it is actually possible and feasible, knowing what you need to actually propel your business into, whatever new move it is that you want to take. Wonderful. That's such phenomenal. I'm loving it, because it's a great reminder. I know for me, at least, years ago, let's just say it was like a very old version of Lavelda. Very, very old version of Lavelda. Somebody would say, oh my gosh, they've got this thing and it's awesome and it's going to save your business. And I would be all over it. Old version before I was intelligent back then. That's what I used to do. And y'all are laughing, but I know there's people listening.
We all are guilty, I'm sure, yes.
Today we're going to talk about networking tactical tips and practical takeaways, but we're really going to talk about the problem with people. Most professionals right now are operating virtually. I know things are we're going through a lockdown again in different areas, but sometimes you get people who aren't really very good at technology, which is fine, but after 8 months it gets a little frustrating, and we're still trying to figure out the Zoom fatigue era, which is learning behind a computer. And then we're also, are we willing to connect with new people? Is that something that we really want to do?
The elements. Now, there are 3 elements to a supercharged website. And the 3 elements is the user experience, which is the experience when someone lands on your website. What do they see? What appeals to them? What kind of content is there? What are they looking for? Have they found what they are looking for? And the user experience has to do with SEO as well, because Google is actually measuring the behavior of your visitors when they're on your website, as well as all the other factors. So one of many factors that Google measures your website for SEO is the behavior and what people do once they land on your website. Number 2 is the development of your website. When you develop your website, ideally in a supercharged website, it should be developed from scratch. That way, your developer, designer, SEO specialist has the ability to not only optimize your website from the foundation up and not tacking it on later on. Development is so important, and lots of people overlook this because there are so many templates out there, and anything that you want your website to do, you can just install a widget or a plugin. The danger to this is that when you're using a template, Google does read the code on your website. It can't read your images, cannot read or understand your video because it doesn't watch your video. but it does read all of your written content and all of your code. And Google does favor unique and relevant information. So not just your content, but how your website's made. If it shares the same foundation code as all the other people that's using the same template as you are. So having it developed from scratch is ideal, but obviously it does come at a larger price point. But we'll talk more about that as we get into that section.
So on to the meaning of marketing, branding, and PR, and what are the differences. So let's start with marketing. Marketing is the action of promoting or selling your product or you yourself. And what I want to say to that is when you are marketing, make sure you're telling your story. If people don't understand what you do and why you do it, they are not going to be interested. So make sure when you're selling your product, and that can be you as a wedding planner, your photography skills, how you are as a chef, that you're really using really great adjectives or words that really put you out there in a way that they can come back and say, oh my gosh, I feel like they're a match with me.
Oh my God, that felt good. I'm going to do that one more time. Ready? So I wish you could see this amazing slide that's coming up next, because it's really a picture of a woman who is like a cartoon woman, and she's kicking a punching bag. And she's just like, I am ready to kick 2020's ass and fly into 2021. And that is exactly how I feel right now, because I am ready. So again, thanks for joining.
In this pandemic, I know a lot of us have taken a hit, and we're looking for some type of way to pivot and to get our business more exposure for 2021. So one of those ways to really share your credibility, as well as any developments in your business that you feel are important and that will connect you to your core audience, would be to start getting media placements. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, doesn't it take a publicist to do that? You just said everybody's been taking a hit, really can't afford a publicist right now. What are you talking about? Well, in my new book, Right on Time, WRITE, Right on Time, Prompt and Perfect Pitch Ideas That Get Media Attention, I actually break down what it takes to kind of be your own publicist and to start getting media placements without hiring a publicist.
You are never beyond the need to assess your accounting practices. Okay. So, what does every successful business need in order to run and understand their finances? They need bookkeeping software. There's lots of them out there: QuickBooks, Quicken, Sage, Microsoft 365, whatever your preference is, it really doesn't matter, but it's just very important to have a bookkeeping software that will allow you to see the full picture of your financial operations. There are other things out there that business owners may have: donation tracking software, point of sale software, and fundraising management software. Those are not full-on financial management software options. They serve the purpose of whatever the specific area that they're addressing, but they don't allow you to see the full operations of your business. Document retention. So this is an area that we can just kind of take a quick look at. Certain documents as a business owner need to be kept for forever, and others just need to be kept for, a couple of years, just to protect yourself and to have on hand in the case of an IRS look back. Or
you guys have had an amazing time watching the breakout sessions. You managed to go, you're singing over here too. You've managed to go and check out the networking sessions and the expo. Those are now closed. But for this particular session and the next session that's on this stage, if you can make sure that you're in the stage chat, because then we only have to keep an eye on one chat rather than the event chat, in the stage chat, and put your comments in there. So who's ready to get started? Give me like a thumbs up or a whoopie doop or something to... Alan is, Gracie is. Have we got other pulses? Did I bring the Chardonnay? People are only interested in the booze, and I'm figuring I'm the one in the latest time zone, so I'm the one who gets to drink. So, hell yeah. Okay, Alan. Alan's bringing the hard liquor. I can see we're family here right now. There's definitely a connection vibe. Yeah. Michelle, I blame it on you. You started this. So, our next speaker.
Me knowing that before. But when you don't know, when you've never bought something before, how do you shop for it? How do you shop for it? What do? You ask them how much it costs. Now, it's a bad question because the price won't matter if your most important boxes don't get checked. But the problem is you don't know what those boxes are yet. So when people are asking you how much, the first thing is that's a buying signal because they are interested in possibly buying it if it's the right fit. And they're buying the results of hiring you. They're not buying your stuff. It's a means to an end. So why? Tell them the results that they're going to get, not just what you do. Everybody in your industry does what you do. Maybe not as well, maybe not as much experience, maybe they do it better, but they don't do it why you do it. They don't give the results you do. They will give results, they won't be yours. They might be good results, but they won't be yours. So if you're selling what you do, like a bullet point list of what you do, everybody else in your market category does the exact same thing. So you're not doing anything unique. That's the thing I hear all the time from business people is, how do I come across as unique? Well, don't do what everybody else does and sell a bullet point list. I do A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, everybody else does as well. Sell the results.
I've got there's 4. I've got 4 people joining me in this conversation right now. So of course, I'm going to welcome back the awesome Alan Berg, who is author, business consultant, and sales trainer. And he's going to be our go-to genius on talking about anything sales in this conversation. Like, how do we get creative about our sales processes to close more business in 2021 in this current landscape? So that'll be Alan joining us in a second. As well as Alan, I saw you nodding like, yes, stop using those other email addresses. What do we do to bring those people in or connect with individuals from a networking perspective? How do we network? If people aren't online quite so much, are there other ways in which we can move those people?
That's a great question. There are 2 different kinds of clients that I end up working with, or a variation of the 2. And there are some that are fearful of networking, which often leads to, I don't have a LinkedIn page. Or there are people who are very good with networking that are very tech savvy, right? And then there's like a mishmash in the middle. But very much to what Alan was saying is that you meet your client halfway. If they're coming to you, is because they want to change something. And if they aren't coming to you, then it's not your problem to change them. So